Hey guys, it's Delora Dabbles here, and this is a bit of an impromptu video because over the last few days I have seen this one meme completely blow up. I believe it's on page 96 here. Yeah, 97. You may fascinate a woman by giving her a piece of cheese, right? That's making its rounds on social media, and people are sharing this book. And I thought I would do a book review / book warning on this book. This book retailed for $5 when it was published, and it was published sometime in the 70s. Let me get you an exact date. First printing, September 1970. Seventh printing, revised edition, which is my edition, 1980. This book is very sensationalized, and I want people to understand that when they read this, there is a lot of appropriation also going on in here. So especially on the back cover, they're really sensationalizing Native American witchcraft, voodoo, as a way to sell books. If they're doing that on the cover, they're also doing it on the inside. They're being sensational to sell books. Now, remember in the 70s and 80s, there was this Satanism craze, right? And everyone was scared of Satanists, and everyone who was a murderer was a Satanist, and you have the whole Charles Manson thing. Sorry, I'm getting comfy in my chair. All of that stuff, right? So there was this big craze, and people were fascinated by it. This book does not do it in a tongue-in-cheek way. It acts as if those satanic, magical satanic, not Luciferian satanic, let me put it that way too, so you guys understand what I'm talking about. But using those rumors as if they were fact. So I'm just going to read here the last paragraph of page 21. It is a chapter titled The Rites of Satanism and Witchcraft. And the very last paragraph says, animals such as black cats or children may be sacrificed. Participants may drink the blood of the sacrifice. An orgy of participants often follows the mass. If someone who's not discerning picks up this book and reads it, they're going to do some really fucked up shit that has nothing to do with magic, right? There's also a spell in here about boiling a black cat, so you can turn invisible when you suck on one of its bones. I highly doubt murdering an innocent feline because of its coloring, boiling it, which probably smells horrible, right? And then sucking on its bone, that's not going to make you invisible, honey. That's not really how magic works. And those are the kinds of spells in here that I'm talking about that are potentially dangerous to a novice who may not know any better. There are also on that same page 97, that's been going around, the spell right underneath of the piece of cheese spell that everyone's been laughing about. In the picture, the person has a finger here, and so you can't really read the line below it. But it says, put 9 drops of your fresh blood on a cloth in which you will steam the food of the one you love. Blood magic isn't new, right? I have no problem with blood magic. I have a problem with someone else ingesting your blood without their knowledge or consent. We do live in a world where bloodborne diseases are a thing. Specifically, AIDS is a bloodborne disease. I'm not sure. If you steam it, there's probably not going to be a lot of bacteria left, but that's still nasty. That's nasty. If that person ever found out that you did that to them, I'd cut a bitch. I'd cut a bitch if they did that to me. And that's just me. It's a fascinating read. If you do get it and read it, it's fascinating. Some of the things in here might actually be helpful, but I really do believe that 80% of this is just hyped up rumors and really weird baseless spells that are meant to evoke a sense of awe in the reader, like awe and horror in the reader as they're reading it, to get them to keep reading it, to get them to tell their friends about it, to get their friends to buy it, right? Like, oh my God, there's a spell about using your blood. All right. And people are going to freak out and they're going to get it. But this isn't really what magic is about. Spider sandwich for strength. Every morning, eat a black spider between 2 slices of buttered bread. So some of these are really weird and just innocuous. And then some of them are potentially dangerous, like feeding your blood to someone else without their consent or knowledge. And certainly different magical practices have different ideas of morals. So we can't be ethnocentric in how we describe morals, but here in America, someone would cut a bitch, right? Anyway, there's also like a lot of things that are potentially dangerous that she tells you to ingest in here. So again, for your safety and for the safety of people you may or may not be casting spells on without their knowledge, this probably wouldn't be the best practicum book, but it's an interesting read. I mean, you could pretty much, let's flip to another page. Badger. The foot of the animal buried under one's bed arouses lust. Nothing makes me horny like a good old badger foot. Because there's a whole like list of ingredients. Again, it's funny to read. I wouldn't use it for practicum because it's just sensational, right? So for chastity and fertility, a broken spearhead worn around the neck will keep a young girl chaste, but make a woman fertile. And it says parentheses Zuni. You know, the people, the Zuni people. For luck, wear the feathers of an owl or a bear's tooth on the middle of the back of the inside of your jacket. And then it says Eskimo. It doesn't say Inuit. It says the slur Eskimo. Right? Okay. This was published in the 80s. So again, I want people to be aware of what they are reading and that this isn't a good practicum book, but it is a really weird book. It's the reason why I keep it and I haven't donated it anywhere or tried to sell it to half price or gotten rid of it, because I always felt like if someone found this book and didn't know what they were doing, they might take it seriously and they might hurt someone or themselves, right? Let me find the one about, yeah, they have conjurations for different demons in here where you just name off different names. They don't even look familiar to me. Don't try to conjure demons out of this book. I don't know what you're going to get, but I guarantee you ain't going to be getting no Lucifer. And there's absolutely nothing in here about ethics, the ethics of magic or anything like that. Yeah. Let me see. It's really hard to find specific things in this book because I haven't read it cover to cover, but I've read enough. I think I flip through this every now and then. For love, put a frog in an anthill, powder the skeleton obtained, mix it with bat blood and dried flies, and make it into tiny buns. Add them to the food of the one you want. So this person is eating a powdered frog skeleton with bat's blood and dried flies. Doesn't sound very tasty to me. Again, I would cut a bitch if I found out they did this to me. Elecampane, vervain, mistletoe berries. Dry them, beat them to a powder, and add to wine. Okay. Bake a turtle dove, then powder it and add it to the wine of the woman you desire. Now, here's the thing also that I get the impression from this book. A lot of old grimoires will say things like, the popular Eye of Newt or Dragon's Blood. Most people today understand that dragon's blood is a resin that comes out of a tree. The same thing with the Eye of Newt and different things like that. These were code names for herbs, and that if a novice did find their grimoire, they might put a literal eye of a newt in there and not the actual herb, and it keeps novices from actually performing powerful magic. I feel like this writer, Catherine Paulson, I feel like they are basically giving you spells that are still in code. She did not uncode these spells, right? But it seems like she also added some things to make you think that they aren't written in code. Like maybe she didn't realize they were written in code. Things like that. So where someone might actually literally go find a newt and pluck out its poor little lizard eye, right? And put it in a potion when really, Eye of Newt is a specific kind of herb. Things like that. So it could be that cat's bones, right, are actually a kind of herb, but she tells you it's an actual cat and to boil the cat, to kill it and boil it. So, yeah. And I mean, also the way that she, again, this is the 80s, but the way she just very frivolously takes rumors, things that might not even be true about another tribe of people around the world, and lists their spells. I mean, if the spells are real, then that's very sacrilegious to that culture. If the spells aren't real, then she is perpetuating myths and stereotypes about those people. Right? So again, it's funny. It's entertaining. I wouldn't do any practicum out of this book. And this is more of a warning than a review, really. But I hope that you guys still enjoyed it. Maybe it's not what you wanted to hear. But yeah, if you do find this book or come across this book, again, it's entertaining, it's funny, and you should read it as such. I don't want people to read this book and take it particularly seriously because there are a lot of ethical problems with this book. A lot. Not just magical, but there's some mundane ethical problems with this book. So, I hope that you guys liked this. If you have any questions about this book, please let me know. This was in my mother's stuff, and it was in her mother's stuff because my Nana was a little crazy, and she did some crazy shit. So, my mom kept it. She even wrote her name all over it. Just, yeah, really didn't want anyone to lose this book. And if we did, she wanted to make sure people knew who it belonged to. My mom does that a lot. She'll just plaster her name everywhere. Her favorite occult books will actually have it written on the inside. It'll say, keep in the family, because she went through this phase where she was like a hypochondriac and really afraid of passing away suddenly. So all of the books she really, really loved, she'd put her name and then she'd put keep in the family always. Anyway, yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. Any questions, please put them in the comment section down below. We can have a discussion about the topics included in this. If you have this book and you have your own warnings to share, or want to play devil's advocate for this book, go right ahead in the comments section. And if you liked this, please hit subscribe and like. And until next time, happy dabbling and bye-bye.